get this. A golfer named Ryggs Johnston, you might not know him yet, but just pulled off one of the most stunning upsets in recent memory.
Yeah.
Winning the Australian Open.
Oh, wow.
Just months after grinding it out in like minor league tournaments.
Right.
We've got a whole stack of articles here.
Yeah.
Not just about Johnston's wild ride, but the Australian Open in general.
Okay.
And some serious tremors shaking the world of professional golf.
Interesting.
So buckle up.
Okay.
This deep dive is going to be a wild one.
Yeah, so what really jumps out at me here is not just the win itself,
Right.
but like the whole context.
Okay.
This past summer, Johnston was competing in tournaments most people haven't even heard of.
Right.
Names like the Centerport Canada Rail Park Manitoba Open
Oh, wow.
and the Elk Ridge Saskatchewan Open.
Okay.
I mean, those don't exactly scream major championship contender.
No, not at all.
Right.
So how does a guy go from playing in those kinds of events
Right.
to winning the Australian Open?
Yeah.
That's a huge leap.
It is a huge leap.
Was it just pure luck, or is there something more to the story?
Well, I mean, luck might have played a small part, but there's definitely more to it than that.
Okay.
Johnston was actually battling it out
Yeah.
at the DP World Tour qualifying school.
Oh, right.
Just scraping by to secure his tour card with a final round 65.
Wow.
So that tells you he's got the talent,
Uh-huh.
but maybe even more importantly, the grit to perform under pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
So he goes from barely getting his tour card to winning a major championship
Right.
against seasoned pros.
Yep.
That's mind-blowing.
Exactly. And think about this.
Yeah.
He entered the Australian Open, ranked somewhere just inside the world's top 1,000 golfers.
Really?
It's like a rookie baseball player hitting a grand slam in their first major league at bat.
Wow. Okay, now you've really got me hooked.
Okay.
What were the highlights of his win at the Australian Open?
Okay.
Did he just squeak by or did he dominate?
Dominate is more like it.
Oh, wow.
He finished a full 3 strokes ahead of runner-up Curtis Luck and a whopping 18 under par for the tournament.
Wow.
To put that in perspective.
Yeah.
He's the first American to win the Australian Open since Jordan Spieth back in 2016.
Wow. That's putting his name alongside legends
Yeah.
like Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus.
Exactly.
In the Stonehaven Cup.
It is pretty amazing.
That is.
Yeah. He faced some tough competition, too.
Yeah.
Players like Lucas Herbert were putting on the pressure.
Right.
And the weather conditions weren't exactly ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnston just stayed focused and kept his cool,
Right.
which is pretty impressive for someone so new to the big stage.
Yeah, I read that he didn't even play any practice rounds
I know, right?
on the course before the tournament started.
Yeah.
Is that common?
Not at all.
Right.
Most pros spend days, even weeks, familiarizing themselves with the course,
Right.
especially for a major championship. But Johnston seems to have taken a different approach,
Yeah.
almost like he thrived on the unknown.
You know what? That actually makes sense to me. Maybe not having those preconceived notions about the course
Yeah.
allowed him to play more freely
Right.
without the pressure of expectations.
That's a fascinating point.
Right.
It could be that his lack of experience on the Sandbelt courses,
Right.
which are known for their unique challenges, actually played to his advantage.
Yeah,
It's a good reminder that sometimes not overthinking things can be a powerful strategy.
definitely.
Yeah.
So this win obviously puts Johnston on the map.
Oh, yeah.
But what does it mean for his future in golf?
Right.
Where does he go from here?
Well, for starters, this victory sends him straight to the Open Championship at Royal Portrush,
Wow.
one of the most prestigious tournaments in golf.
Okay.
It's a dream come true for any golfer.
Right.
And for Johnston, it's a chance to prove that his Australian Open win wasn't a fluke.
That's incredible.
Right.
So we could be witnessing the birth of a golf superstar right before our eyes?
It's certainly possible, and here's another interesting tidbit. Both Johnston and the runner-up, Curtis Luck, a former U.S. amateur champion, will be making their Open Championship debuts.
Oh, wow.
It's not every day you see 2 first-timers competing at that level.
A double debut at the Open.
Yeah.
That's going to be must-see TV.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about Marc Leishman,
Oh, right.
who also qualified for the Open through his performance at the Australian Open. He narrowly missed winning at St. Andrews back in 2015.
Right.
So he'll be looking for redemption this time around.
So it sounds like the Australian Open was more than just a showcase for Ryggs Johnston.
Definitely.
It was a springboard for several golfers
Yeah,
looking to make their mark on the world stage.
it was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And while the main event was certainly captivating, there were other storylines worth paying attention to,
Right.
particularly In the Australian All-Abilities Championship.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Tell me more about that.
Simon Seung-min Lee was the dominant force in that tournament.
Oh.
He finished a remarkable 14 shots ahead of his nearest competitor.
Really?
But what makes his story even more inspiring is that he was diagnosed with a form of autism.
Oh, wow.
And a developmental disability at just 3 years old.
Wow. That puts his achievement into a whole new perspective.
It really does.
What's he hoping to accomplish in golf?
Well, after winning the U.S. Adaptive Open in 2022, he set a pretty ambitious goal for himself.
Okay.
To make the cut in the regular Australian Open.
Wow.
He hasn't achieved that yet.
Right.
But his dedication and talent are undeniable.
His story is a powerful reminder that anything is possible if you set your mind to it.
It really is. But speaking of the Australian Open,
yeah,
we can't ignore some of the controversies that surrounded this year's format,
right,
which featured the men's, women's, and all abilities championships running concurrently.
You're right. I read that some players weren't too happy about that setup.
Yeah, there were definitely some grumblings.
Yeah.
Australian Golf Digest published an analysis that highlighted concerns over slow play, the way the course was set up,
Right.
and potential discrepancies in prize money between the different championships.
It's a shame that those issues overshadowed some of the incredible performances we saw.
Yeah, definitely.
There was also that tension between Cam Smith and Elvis Smiley, right?
Yes, that was a bit of a sideshow.
Okay.
Smith publicly criticized Smiley's pace of play,
Yeah.
which created some awkward moments
Right.
and fueled speculation about player discontent.
It seems like there are some underlying tensions that need to be addressed.
I think that's a fair assessment.
If the Australian Open wants to maintain its status as a premier golf event.
Yeah.
But before we delve too deep into the politics of golf,
Okay.
let's shift gears and talk about Jiyai Shin's impressive victory
Okay.
in the Women's Australian Open.
All right.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
She managed to defeat the defending champion Ashley Wuhai.
Yep.
Which is no easy feat.
No.
What was the key to her success?
Well, both Shin and Buhai are known as links specialists,
Okay.
meaning they excel on courses that are typically found along coastlines
Okay.
with rolling terrain and unpredictable wind conditions.
So that experience probably gave them an edge over the competition.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially considering the Australian Open's course layout.
They were in their element,
Right.
and it showed in their performances.
I read that Shin was a real crowd favorite.
Yeah.
What was it about her that resonated with the fans?
You know, people were drawn to her joyful demeanor and creative shot making.
Okay.
It was a joy to watch her play.
Right.
And to think her 2 Australian Open wins are 11 years apart. That speaks volumes about her longevity and resilience in the sport.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
She's obviously a force to be reckoned with.
She is.
Was there a particular shot that stood out during her victory?
Oh, there was one shot that will be talked about for years to come.
Okay.
It was a spectacular eagle on the 4th hole.
Oh.
She chipped in from a sandy lie. The ball bouncing perfectly onto the green and rolling right into the cup.
You're making me wish I had seen it live.
It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
The commentator even described it as the dagger that smote her competitor, Hannah Green,
Wow.
who was in 2nd place at the time.
That's a powerful image. It sounds like a shot that could demoralize even the toughest competitor.
It was.
You know, this deep dive has already taken us on quite a journey.
That has.
From the highs of Johnston's Cinderella story
Yeah.
to the controversy surrounding the tournament format.
Yeah.
But there's one more bombshell we need to unpack.
Yeah.
This potential shakeup happening in the world of professional golf.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one. It really makes you wonder, are we about to witness the end of one of the biggest rivalries in golf?
Hey, are you talking about live golf?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's breaking news about a potential merger
Oh, wow.
between Live Golf,
Mhm.
which is backed by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund,
Okay.
and the DP World Tour.
Whoa, this is massive. If this deal goes through, what are the implications?
Well, for starters, it could completely reshape the landscape of professional golf.
Okay.
The rivalry between Livy Golf and the PGA Tour has been incredibly intense,
Right.
and this merger would signal a major power shift.
So this could have a ripple effect across the entire sport.
Yeah.
What about the PGA Tour? How will this impact them?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
The PGA Tour has been strongly opposed to Live Golf, but this potential merger could force them to rethink their strategy.
Yeah.
They might even feel pressured to make a deal of their own.
And what about the Ryder Cup?
Oh, yeah.
One of the most prestigious events in golf.
Right.
How would this merger affect that?
Now, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
If the DP World Tour merges with Live Golf.
Yeah.
It means that half of the Ryder Cup teams could be controlled by Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund.
Wow, that's a game changer.
Absolutely. It would be a significant development.
Yeah.
And could lead to all sorts of unforeseen consequences.
Right. So is this the beginning of a new era in professional golf?
Yeah, definitely.
One where rivalries are put aside and we see like a unified global tour?
It's certainly a possibility, but it's still early days.
Right.
There are a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And the negotiations are likely to be complex.
This is going to be a fascinating story to follow in the coming months.
It is.
I have a feeling golf fans are in for a wild ride.
I agree. This potential merger
Yeah.
has the potential to change the game as we know it.
Before we get lost in hypotheticals about the future of golf,
Okay.
let's circle back to Ryggs Johnston for a moment.
Okay.
What should we be watching for from him in the coming months and years? Can he maintain this incredible momentum?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Right.
It's one thing to have a breakthrough win,
Right.
but it's another to sustain that level of performance over time.
So you're saying it's not just about talent.
Right.
It's also about adaptability.
Exactly.
And mental toughness.
Golf is as much a mental game as it is a physical one.
Right.
Johnston will need to develop strong mental resilience
Okay.
to handle the pressure and expectations that come with success.
He's definitely going to be facing much higher expectations now.
Oh, yeah.
All eyes will be on him
Right.
to see if he can live up to the hype.
The spotlight can be both a blessing and a curse for a young player.
Okay.
It can inspire greatness, but it can also be overwhelming.
Right.
How he handles that pressure will be crucial.
But let's not forget that Johnston has already proven he can perform under pressure.
That's true.
Remember, he held his own against some of the best golfers in the world at the Australian Open,
Right.
and he did it without the benefit of practice rounds.
He showed remarkable composure
Right.
and a fearlessness that you don't often see in young players.
It's true.
You could almost say that his lack of experience worked in his favor.
Yeah.
He had nothing to lose and everything to gain.
That kind of mindset can be incredibly liberating, can't it?
Absolutely. Fear of failure can be paralyzing. Right. But when you approach a challenge with a sense of freedom and a willingness to embrace the unknown, amazing things can happen.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
what's your final prediction for Ryggs Johnston's future?
Right.
Do you think he has what it takes to become a major force in golf?
I believe he has the potential, but only time will tell if he can fulfill it.
Right.
He's got the talent, the drive,
Right.
and now he's got the taste of victory.
Right.
The next few years will be crucial in determining whether he becomes a legend or fades into obscurity.
It's going to be exciting to watch his journey unfold.
Yeah, it really is.
His story is a reminder that anything is possible in the world of sports.
And in life in general, I'd say.
Golf, it's a sport it's always been about tradition and decorum.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's like we're finding it in the middle of all this upheaval
Yeah.
between Johnston's just like meteoric rise
Yeah.
and this potential Livy golf merger. It's like we're seeing a major turning point.
Yeah. It's a time of transition for sure. And it'll be interesting to see how all these events shape the future of the game.
Yeah.
We could be on the cusp of a whole new era in professional golf.
Right.
One where all the old rivalries and power structures are totally upended.
And what does that mean for a player like Johnston?
Yeah.
He's just starting out in this rapidly evolving landscape.
Yeah, it's a high-stakes game he's stepping into.
Yeah.
But remember, Johnson's already shown a remarkable ability to adapt
Right.
and thrive under pressure.
It's true.
His unconventional path to victory at the Australian Open
Right.
suggests he's not afraid to challenge the status quo.
So you're saying he might actually benefit from this shakeup?
Possibly.
Like a more fluid, less predictable golf world could actually play to his strengths?
It's a possibility. In a way, he's entering the professional scene without the same baggage
Right.
and preconceived notions that some of the more established players might have. He's a bit of a wild card, and that could work to his advantage.
Makes you wonder if this potential merger, and all the uncertainty it's creating
Right.
could actually level the playing field in some ways.
Yeah.
Maybe create more opportunities for players like Johnston to rise to the top.
That's an interesting perspective.
Right.
It's certainly possible that a shakeup of this magnitude could create some unexpected openings and allow new talent to emerge.
Yeah.
The old guard might find themselves having to adapt and evolve to stay competitive.
It's almost like a changing of the guard.
Right.
A generational shift.
Yeah.
Where the old ways of doing things are being challenged.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. And it's not just about age either.
Right.
It's about mindset.
Uh-huh.
Players like Johnston seem to have a different approach.
Right.
A willingness to experiment, to take risks,
Right.
embrace the unknown.
Speaking of embracing the unknown,
Yeah.
let's bring it back to one of our favorite topics.
Okay.
Simon Sungmin Lee. And, like, the incredible rise of the All Abilities Championship.
Yeah.
What do you think needs to happen for golfers with disabilities
Right.
to gain even greater recognition and support within the sport?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it's about creating more opportunities for these athletes to compete at the highest level
Okay.
and showcase their talents to a wider audience.
Right.
Events like the U.S. Adaptive Open and the Australian All Abilities Championship are fantastic platforms,
Right.
but we need more of them.
So it's about expanding the infrastructure,
Yep.
creating a more inclusive environment.
Exactly. It's about making sure that golfers with disabilities have access to the same resources,
Right.
coaching and competitive opportunities as their able-bodied counterparts.
And it's also about challenging our own preconceptions about what's possible, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Lee's story is such a powerful testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome obstacles and achieve great things, regardless of physical limitations.
Absolutely. His determination and resilience are an inspiration to us all.
It's a message that resonates far beyond the world of golf. You know, as
Yeah.
we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I'm struck by the sense that golf is at a crossroads.
Right.
You know, it's a sport steeped in tradition,
Yeah,
but it's also facing these unprecedented challenges and opportunities.
it is.
It'll be fascinating to see what direction it takes in the years to come.
I think that's a perfect way to sum it up.
Yeah.
The future of golf is unwritten, and the next chapter promises to be one of the most compelling yet.
So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah,
keep your eyes on the green because things are about to get really interesting.
I agree.
This has been a really fun deep dive.
It has been a lot to think about.
A lot to think about.
For sure.
We'll be back next week with a whole new set of topics and stories.
Sounds good.
Until then, keep swinging.
And keep diving deep.